Yeah, it's a bit weird actually, because as people, well, except from you and Herman, we couldn't really see what was going on. I could only see the elephants moving quite fast and hearing the loud trumpeting. Yeah, and things were going through my mind to say, what am I supposed to do, or what should I do? Because I was there with the vehicle, so I could do something. But then I decided
the branches aside, so the signal's better.
You still, I heard you shouting at the elephants, hey, hey! So I figured you still have your wits about you and you're in control, so I'm not going to do anything, because I was thinking, based on a personal experience I had in Swaziland, and also I got charged by an elephant, which was caused by a vehicle coming from behind actually. So I was actually thinking, as long as things don't really get out of hand or something, I'm not going to do anything, because that'll actually make things quite worse. But yeah, I was quite anxious and worried, and in a way, because you can only hear things and don't see it. But yeah, as I said, then I saw you climbing up the termite mound. I could hear also the communication going on,
and
I could see you and Herman sitting up there, and then I thought, okay, cool. Then everything seemed to calm, and surprisingly as well, the elephants just, once that happened, they just went about their business and started browsing again, and as if nothing ever happened. It was quite amazing actually.
I just wanted to mention something short on that, not to go into it long, but a couple of the questions that came through, a question from Mike was sort of touching on a few things, and Colleen also mentioned briefly a couple of things, but just in terms of the terrain and in terms of the behavior, and I'm sure many people have a similar question in mind, and to go into it is virtually impossible, because there's so many variations on behavior. So to say beforehand, in a situation like this you do that, is very difficult. I mean, I've been asked the question, what do you do when you see an elephant or a lion or a scorpion or a snake or whatever on foot? To go into that, you've just got so many different scenarios that to discuss it is just not possible. And also to look at things in hindsight often is a thing that, there's so many things you can explain and go through afterwards and the whole thing. But in the end, with animal behavior, it's a very real-time thing when it happens, especially if it's a situation where you've got to have your wits about you, like you said just now. I don't know if I've ever had my wits about me, really, but no, just kidding. But the point is, regarding this question, I don't want to go into too many details. In terms of a termite mound is an obvious point. It's much higher than that. Elephant's a big animal. To get up there, it's cumbersome. It can run up it if it wants to, but it's got the potential of falling. You can run down the other side. There was a riverbed close by with big trees. There's a whole lot of terrain things that, as much as an elephant can run faster than a human, a human can move faster than an elephant when it comes to tricky terrain. So there's a whole lot of things to consider. And then you also consider their behavior. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? What might they do? And so there's so many aspects that to discuss it prior to the occurrence of seeing something on foot, and even afterwards, you can discuss so many aspects afterwards. But ultimately, the way to really experience it is the way I've done and many other people have done over time. It's just over time, getting experience and seeing more things on foot. And I'm going to draw a parallel through to everything around campus now, which we spoke about earlier. But it really is something that the best way to learn more about being on foot with animals and being on foot in this terrain is to come walking with us. And that's not to get you on the walk. That's the best way to do it. Every time I'm learning new things, I'll always learn more new things. But it's, I've spent literally thousands of hours walking with guests and with friends and by myself and with my father when I was little, and all different kind of terrains and habitats and animals, and it's fantastic. Animal behavior, you can never learn enough about animal behavior. There's certain things you can learn more and more, and I just want to make that point. It's important to me that we realize, as much as it was quite a traumatic experience for some maybe, Graham maybe, but it's partly also, with signal breaking up and everything else going on, and there was a whole lot going on. But during the whole course of it, it was a bit more exciting maybe than we would have hoped for. But it really was something that can happen again in future. It might happen only in 100 walks from now. It might happen in 5 or 10 walks from now, or maybe on Monday. It's something that you never really know what's going to happen, but it's obviously something that you're aware of. And we're not going to blindly fall around in the bush. We're going to always pay attention all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't not pay attention when you're in the bush on foot. But sorry, that was a bit of a long thing, but I just wanted to explain it a little bit. Speaking of animals, we spoke about the monkeys briefly now with Simon, and something I've really enjoyed, and again on a personal level as well, with you being in campus, just again enjoying the smaller things, all the bird life and all the activity around camp. There's a lot of wildlife in camp.
Oh, there is, yeah, and lots of them you normally don't see, because I think if it's not a bird or smaller than a monkey typically, then you don't pay attention, or as one of the questions that came in this afternoon, you get too familiar with it, so you don't notice it anymore. But yeah, I'm always still on the lookout, and it's quite new for me still. And I said that's why I enjoyed also I think especially the second episode of We Learn that I did. When I was actually in the swimming pool just behind us, and there was some ants on, some ants on the side of the swimming pool. Just they were carrying off a bug, and then if you just take time just to sit down almost like and smell the roses or watch the ants in this case,
exactly.
then you can see the little ants, and the one is pulling the antenna, and just like people think of mindless little creatures and annoyed with them when they get into the sugar pot and stuff like that, but it's fascinating the way the colony is structured and how they do find a way somehow to work together. Maybe through I don't know chemical communication or whatever. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Really, I can watch that for hours. Maybe even more so than watching an elephant. It's just like because there's so many things going on. It's fascinating.
For sure. So maybe they use internet. We just don't know about it. Around here, maybe. We joked about it earlier. Sorry, you were saying. No, it was Simon was saying that there's a whole lot of things around here, the internet and communication and phones. But it still every now and again surprises me that we've got one of the better internet connections in the country, sitting in the middle of nowhere, and obviously that's why we can have you here. And it's always a pleasure to have you here.
So it's great, yeah.
Sorry, I mentioned it on the drive, but I just thought I might as well ask you, whether we learn somewhere in the next week or two, can we maybe look at lizards? Maybe I come and join you or something.
Oh, yeah,
just because suddenly there's all the reptiles are coming out. We've seen the monitor lizards mating, we've seen the gammas, and there's little dwarf geckos around, and all kinds of reptile activity, maybe snakes as well. And
I included a couple of them already in the camp buddies, a skink and a little gecko, and I especially like geckos. I love them, just their behavior. And I explained to people, maybe for those that didn't watch or because it was at a bad time for people in the Americas, if a human's hand would be like a gecko's foot with the same very fine structures on it, then if you put your hand against a ceiling like this, even me, quite a portly gentleman, if they call it like that, I could just put my hand against it and it would stick, and it would have more than enough power just to have me to the ceiling. Just if our hand was structured the same way as a gecko's foot. It's fascinating. It's so strong, and it's just, and the way it's. Well, I'm not going to go into that now because this is.
I climb trees like all over.
But just with your little pinky, you could climb a tree. So but those kind of things and those adaptations, I'm going to touch on that a little bit tomorrow as well. But actually about snake venom, I'm going to speak a little bit about snake venom tomorrow.
Snake poison.
No venom.
I'm kidding. Please, it's
I'm going to explain the difference.
Old jokes that always comes along with guides. So you can talk about venom a bit.
And also adaptation on the woodpecker skull. That's another thing. So join me at We Learn tomorrow. There's going to be 2 more before I go and leave, and then there's a little gap, and then I get to think about some interesting new topics. But if you guys have some ideas, I got some ideas from people watching already. Please feel free to send them, either to Pete at Wild Earth or any Wild Earth address actually. Then
they're all
lead
to Rome.
So any ideas that you might have, saying I also thought that might be interesting or something, just please send them in, and there are going to be lots and lots of episodes, so there's space for all ideas in one episode, one way or the other.
Hopefully run for a couple of years at least.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Pete, sorry, just to make sure, you're going to leave only for just over a week, huh?
10 days only. Very short.
You'll miss two fireside chats and the things in between.
Awesome. But no worries. There's always communication, I'm sure I'm going to think about Wild Earth and things because I've gotten so much into it. But I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm thinking of it, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Because there's other things to do in that break as well. I look forward to seeing my girlfriend again. It's been 4 weeks now. That's going to be exciting. She also likes the bush, so we're going to enjoy birding in Kruger for a couple of days.
It's a nice time of year for Kruger.
We'll probably take the weekend we'll take some outings somewhere in the Western Cape. Maybe go to the West Coast National Park or something. We'll see what the weather does and how it goes. But I definitely look forward to that as well.
Yeah, the breaks are always fun.
Yeah.
And you'll probably think about Wild Earth once or twice. It's sort of in your nature eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably it for now, guys. Not tonight, but obviously not tonight, but for next Sunday or so. We are planning to get Charles in. He's been away for his break, and we thought of maybe tonight, but he couldn't make it. So hopefully, if all goes well, next Sunday evening, we will have Charles around the fire. We're going to chat a little bit about the mapojos and the lions and sort of general things that has been around and what he knows about. It's also good because he's back, I think, tomorrow or something like that. A couple of visitors. We're going to start getting 1 or 2 people now and again from around the lodges here, from Juma, from Voyatella, to come and say hello as well. But we'll see how that goes next Sunday. In the meantime, the week is going to be full. There's a large blog on the wildearth.tv website explaining everything. I'm still trying to keep up with everything. It's a lot of fun, everything going on. So thank you for joining us around the fire, and it's always nice chatting with
Yeah.
everything, and
So-
we'll see you guys next week.
Definitely tomorrow.
Yeah.
All shows are running tomorrow.
I don't know why I said next week. It sounds like far away.
No,
See
it's
tomorrow
not.
morning, bright and early. Keep in mind also our drive times have changed.
yeah.
Yeah. 6 o'clock in the morning for the drive. It means that everything comes back a little bit earlier. 9 o'clock is the the bush walk, and 10 o'clock is the wee chat. And Texan's back in the week. And before I ramble on too much, I'm just going to say good night. See you in the morning.
Good night.
Bye-bye.